Next time you're walking down the bread aisle at Kroger, Publix, or Walmart, flip over a standard loaf of honey wheat or multigrain. If you look past the big, bold health claims on the front, you'll likely find a list of synthetic additives that might make you wonder if you're looking at a recipe or a chemistry report. Once we cross the age 60 milestone, our bodies simply play by a different set of biological rules. The natural protective lining of our digestive tract begins to thin, and how our metabolism processes simple starches shifts dramatically. Yet many of the most recognizable bread brands on American shelves, including the expensive ones in the health food aisle with the pretty green labels, are quietly utilizing manufacturing shortcuts that can trigger joint stiffness, disrupt digestion, and spike blood sugar levels completely unnoticed. Today, we aren't just reading a generic list, we are breaking down the top 5 commercial bread traps line by line. More importantly, I'm going to show you how to spot clean, budget-friendly alternatives that actually protect your health without draining your retirement wallet. Walk down that aisle today, and you are bombarded with clever corporate marketing. Phrases like "made with whole grains" or "all natural" are legally allowed on packaging, even if the food inside is highly processed. As seniors, we cannot afford to trust the front of the bag anymore. Big food corporations know that we are looking for healthy options, and they use our health consciousness against us by charging a premium price for what is essentially disguised white bread. If you're tired of big food companies using deceptive marketing to compromise your wellness and your wallet, take a brief second to hit that subscribe button right now. On this channel, we do the tedious work for you. We look past the colorful corporate packaging and read the hard truths on the back, so you can protect your body with real, honest food. Now let's look at our first major offender, which relies on a sneaky visual illusion. Let's start with brand number 5. This is usually the brand with the bright red banners on the packaging claiming "Heart Healthy" on the bottom shelf. Millions of seniors buy this thinking they are making a smart, fiber-rich choice for their morning toast. But if you look closely at the ingredient list, the very first item isn't whole wheat at all. It reads, "Enriched wheat flour." Let's translate what enriched actually means in corporate food science. It means the manufacturer took a perfectly good whole grain, stripped away the bran and the germ, which contain 100% of the natural fiber, vitamins, and minerals, and left behind a highly refined starch. Because the law requires them to replace some of what they destroyed, they spray synthetic vitamins back onto the stripped flour. But it gets worse. Because white flour looks white, they add caramel color or molasses to the dough to dye it brown. They are literally painting the bread brown to make your brain think it's a rustic, fiber-rich whole grain. For someone over 60, this is a metabolic disaster. Without the natural fiber matrix intact, this bread digests almost instantly, converting into pure glucose in your bloodstream. This causes massive blood sugar spikes, forcing your pancreas to overproduce insulin. Over time, this constant strain accelerates insulin resistance and fuels systemic cellular inflammation. Now, here is the golden rule that actually makes this system work. I call it the 5-ingredient 2-gram rule. When you are looking for a true whole grain bread, look for a loaf explicitly labeled 100% stone-ground whole wheat. The ingredient list should have fewer than 5 total ingredients, and the nutrition panel should show less than 2 grams of sugar per slice. When a grain is stone-ground, the bran and germ are completely preserved. The natural fiber is intact, which acts like a slow-release valve in your digestive tract. It slows down the absorption of carbohydrates, giving you sustained energy over several hours without the sharp insulin spikes that leave you feeling fatigued by midday. This brings us to brand number 4, which is a massive staple in millions of American households simply because of how it feels. It's that ultra-soft, pillow-like sandwich bread that comes in the clear plastic bags with the twist ties, the kind that seems to stay perfectly fresh on your counter for weeks on end without ever getting stale. Now, this is where most people get it wrong. They think that supernatural softness means freshness. In reality, industrial bakeries achieve this by using chemical dough conditioners like DATEM or mono and diglycerides. Now, to be completely fair, these are FDA approved, and eating a slice today isn't going to cause an overnight emergency. You've likely eaten them for years without noticing a thing. And this doesn't just apply to cheap bread either. Even if you buy organic or non-GMO brands from the health food section, many of them are just as guilty. They use organic compliant emulsifiers like organic soy lecithin to mimic that exact same soft texture. But here is the part that actually matters for long-term wellness after 60. These ingredients are emulsifiers. Their job in the factory is to bond fat and water together so machines can process dough at high speeds. Inside an aging digestive tract, however, a steady daily intake of these emulsifiers can gradually thin out the delicate protective mucus layer of your gut. Over time, this subtle breakdown can contribute to low-grade systemic inflammation, the exact kind of inflammation that shows up as mysterious joint discomfort or sluggish digestion in the morning. It's a slow process, not an immediate reaction, which is why it goes unnoticed for so long. Once you know how to spot these synthetic softeners, the next step in our grocery system is finding a replacement that doesn't compromise on flavor. But before we look at that, let's do a quick live check. If you're watching this near your kitchen, grab your current loaf of bread, flip to the back, and tell me in the comments below. Does your brand contain mono and diglycerides or soy lecithin? Just type yes or no and drop the brand name. It helps all of us see which companies are using these shortcuts. Now, your direct swap for this soft loaf trap is a traditional 3-ingredient sourdough. I know a common objection here is, real sourdough is too sour, and it's hard to find in a regular supermarket. But here's the catch. Authentic sourdough shouldn't taste intensely sour. It should just taste rich and satisfying. And you don't need a boutique bakery to find it. Most standard U.S. grocery store bakery sections carry local or in-house loaves made with just flour, water, and salt. Because true sourdough undergoes a long natural fermentation process, the wild yeasts do the heavy lifting for you, pre-digesting the starches and breaking down phytic acid. Phytic acid is an anti-nutrient found in grains that binds to minerals like calcium, magnesium, and zinc in your digestive tract, preventing your body from absorbing them. For seniors, protecting bone density is vital, and blocking calcium absorption with chemical-laden bread is a major mistake. Authentic sourdough is incredibly gentle on an aging digestive system and significantly increases mineral bioavailability. Brand number 3 is what I call the hidden sugar bomb. These are the premium-looking loaves at the store, often featuring beautiful drawings of honeycombs, oats, or walnuts on the front cover. They look upscale, and they charge an upscale price. When you read the actual line-by-line ingredient list, however, you will find that the sweetness doesn't come from a light touch of raw honey or molasses. Instead, it comes from high fructose corn syrup, or multiple layers of added refined sugars hidden under names like cane sugar, brown sugar, and malted barley flour. Some of these popular commercial loaves contain up to 4 grams of added sugar per single slice. If you make a standard sandwich with 2 slices, you are consuming 2 full teaspoons of refined sugar before you even add any fillings. Now, let's keep things in perspective. The dose makes the poison. If you have an occasional sandwich at a local diner or enjoy a roll at a holiday dinner, it is not going to ruin your health. You will still deal with some of these ingredients occasionally, and that is perfectly fine. Our focus on this channel is fixing your daily pantry staples, the bread you eat 365 days a year. For older adults, daily consumption of high fructose corn syrup is particularly problematic. Unlike regular glucose, which can be utilized by all of your cells for energy, fructose must be processed entirely by your liver. When a steady stream of industrial fructose hits an aging liver, it triggers a process called lipolysis, which is the creation of fat inside the liver cells. Furthermore, excess refined sugars bind to proteins in your bloodstream, creating harmful compounds called advanced glycation end products, appropriately abbreviated as AGEs. These compounds damage collagen, which directly contributes to the stiffening of blood vessels and increased stiffness and pain in arthritic joints. To bypass the hidden sugar bombs completely, look in the freezer section for a 100% sprouted whole grain bread. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Sprouted bread can be expensive, often costing a couple of dollars more per loaf. But this is where the system actually saves you money, because sprouted bread contains absolutely zero chemical preservatives. You store it directly in your freezer and toast it slice by slice. Zero slices go to waste, it never molds on your counter, and you end up throwing away far less of your grocery budget. It has a distinctly nutty, rustic texture, so if you're used to soft white bread, give it a few tries toasted with a bit of real butter. It's a game changer for keeping your blood sugar completely flat. Brand number 2 is highly deceptive because it tastes completely savory, not sweet. It is often a dense multigrain or artisan-style loaf sold by major commercial bakeries, frequently sporting a heart-checked certification stamp on the plastic wrapper. Because it looks rustic and is covered in oats or sunflower seeds, it appears to be an excellent health choice. But let's look past the seeds and look directly at the nutrition facts panel, specifically the sodium line. Many of these mass-produced multi-grain breads pack anywhere from 200 to 260 milligrams of sodium per single slice. If you eat 2 slices of toast with breakfast, you are easily eclipsing 500 milligrams of refined sodium. That is over 1/3 of the entire daily recommended sodium limit for an adult managing their cardiovascular health. Why do they use so much salt? Because mass-produced grains lose their natural flavor during high-heat factory processing, and corporations use excessive sodium to mask the bitter taste of chemical shelf-life extenders. As we cross the age 60 milestone, our blood vessels naturally lose some of their youthful elasticity. Introducing high amounts of hidden, highly refined sodium from everyday staples like bread causes your body to hold on to excess fluid. This increases total blood volume, placing direct, unnecessary mechanical strain on your arteries and kidneys and driving up blood pressure. Your replacement for the sodium trap is an authentic, dark German-style rye or pumpernickel. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, if you try to eat this straight out of the package like a piece of standard white sandwich bread, you probably won't enjoy it. It is incredibly dense and hearty. But when sliced thin, toasted crisp, and paired with eggs or avocado, it provides a powerful dose of prebiotic fiber that naturally supports blood pressure management. Because it is so dense, you only need 1 slice to feel completely satisfied, which means a single loaf lasts twice as long. We have reached brand number 1, the absolute worst offender in the supermarket aisle. This is the ultimate preservative nightmare. This is the generic mass-market bread that can sit in a humid pantry or a warm kitchen cupboard for 3 to 4 weeks, and it will never grow a single speck of mold. To achieve this unnaturally long shelf life, corporations flood the dough with a heavy synthetic preservative called calcium propionate. While food safety agencies approve its use to inhibit mold growth on a corporate scale, we have to look at how this synthetic chemical interacts with an aging nervous system and metabolic health. Clinical research has started tracking how propionate compounds act inside the body. Studies suggest that a steady intake of calcium propionate can act as a metabolic disruptor, triggering a transient spike in glucagon and adrenaline, which can cause unexpected liver glucose release and temporary insulin resistance. Furthermore, many older adults report mild, unexplained symptoms like evening restlessness, subtle headaches, or disrupted sleep patterns after consuming preservative-heavy breads daily. When you are over 60, protecting the quality of your deep sleep and cognitive clarity is paramount. You do not want synthetic mold inhibitors messing with your body's natural chemistry. The ultimate solution to avoid this preservative nightmare is simple. Buy fresh, local bread and use the freezer hack. Visit a local bakery or check the fresh bakery counter of your grocery store for loaves that have a simple, clean label containing just flour, water, salt, and yeast. Because these breads contain 0 synthetic preservatives, they will naturally begin to harden or mold within 3 to 4 days on your counter. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Freezing bread makes it dry and gives it freezer burn. But here is the trick to make this realistic and doable. If you keep the sliced loaf tightly sealed in its original bag, or even double bag it, it completely prevents freezer burn. Whenever you want a slice, pull it straight from the freezer and pop it directly into your toaster. The intense heat of the toaster defrosts and crisps the bread instantly, restoring the exact moisture profile of a fresh bakery loaf. Even better, scientific studies show that freezing and then toasting bread alters the structure of the starches, converting a portion of them into resistant starch. Resistant starch resists digestion in your small intestine, acting instead as a prebiotic that feeds the good bacteria in your colon, resulting in an even lower glycemic impact on your blood sugar. Managing your health after 60 isn't about achieving absolute perfection overnight, and it certainly doesn't mean you can never enjoy a piece of toast again. It's simply about understanding the system big food corporations use, making small, intentional adjustments, and choosing real, honest food that respects your body and your retirement budget. If you found this line-by-line breakdown helpful, please share it with a friend or family member who is trying to navigate the grocery aisle safely. And if you want to see how this same label reading system applies to the rest of your morning routine, click right here on this next video where we look at the newest warehouse grocery items affecting senior gut health. Let's head over there together and keep reading those labels.